Welcome to the first look seminar for Saturday, February 14th. And guess what that means? That means my Valentines are Seminar Skip and Gino Bacola. I'm a lucky man, Gino. Happy Valentine's Day.
When it's Valentine's Day, so I had to wear my Bret the Hitman Hart shirt. I had to get the pink on for the pink and black attack. Shout out to the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Bret the Hitman Hart and all of your loved ones out there on Valentine's Day. We're going to be rocking Mardi Gras this weekend out at Santa Anita too. Don't forget about that if you're live on track. But if you're joining us, we're going to preview the late pick five for you on Saturday, February the 14th. We'll dive into that. We'll talk to you about some of the other great wagers and promotions that you can get involved with this weekend at Santa Anita.
Yeah, like Gino said, Skipper, obviously tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and we have the Mardi Gras on Saturday and Sunday. Sunday, we also have the Corgis coming out, which is a huge deal, and it's somebody's birthday, I believe. Tell us about that seminar, Skip.
Oh, that means I'm getting a year older, buddy. Getting up there, but, we're only as old as we feel. I feel good, and I sure don't act my age, and hopefully I don't look like it either. But, yeah, big day, big weekend of racing. Valentine's tomorrow. Weather should be good, and then come Monday, it looks like we're going to get some rain next week. So we got to enjoy this weekend.
No doubt about it. And the only number that counts right now, Gino, is the number 5, because we're gonna dice down and dissect the pick 5 here, and hopefully we'll have a nice big winning ticket. So let's get to it, gentlemen. 9 races tomorrow. Race 1 starts at 12:30. So we're heading to race 5, Gino Bacola. 6.5 furlongs down the hill, Calbred allowance, and a very, very tough race to start our sequence out here. Gino, what do you think?
Yeah, competitive race. For there are two different types of races. There can be competitive races because you don't really love anybody in the race, or there can be competitive races because it feels like they all got a shot to win. This one's more like it. I mean, you go through the field and you can't really discount too many in here. Like you start going through. For me, the major players that I need to have on my ticket, I thought the 4 was very interesting. Gold Council in here. You go through this horse's overall form, right? He's a 6-year-old who's only raced 8 times. So he's had some physical issues along the way. Career debut winner back in November of 2022. Then he has an entire year off, comes back and races in November of 2023. Again, has a little time off. But then look at, he goes a little longer in those races in early 2024. He's going 1 1/8 miles, a mile. Then again, another huge layoff where he's off from March of 2024 to October of 2025, a year and a half. So this horse has had some physical issues, but I think now strung a few races together, a little bit of a break, again, a pretty good effort. If you just looked at the horse's races and what you think would fit his running style, the downhill really looks perfect for him at 6.5 furlongs. I love that he got a race under him, and now stringing a few together, I think will go bode really, really well for him. That November race was kind of sneaky good. He did not have a great trip. Then last time out, he actually outfinished Bro. He was kept out wide, and he really got going late. Throw the 4 into your exotics. The 5 Frank Bullet's a little interesting, sort of based on the type of cutback that we like, and we talk about this a bunch. This horse has a lot more positional speed than he showed on January the 10th. You know what? He was close up 3rd. That race was really deceiving. And then he just sort of went a little bit wide, and all of a sudden he backs up and he's 7th. You're watching the race like, what happened? This horse was right in the top, and then you kind of blink your eye and he's back and he's in 7th. I think he's going to sit way closer than it looks on paper. He's going to get Lasix for the first time. You see that race where he comes out of with Cali Cat, Sir Percival, who we talked about, came back to win last week right there too. So this horse did have a good second, going 6.5 behind Cali Cat earlier. That just wasn't down the hill. It was on the flat 6.5. So the 4 and the 5 kind of more intriguing, maybe a little outside the box horses that'll definitely be on the radar for me. And I got to throw in the 1 as well. Chappie, he's a half sibling to our buddy Allegato, 3-time winner who loves to finish 2nd and 3rd, but it's a really solid Calbred stakes horse on the turf. So a lot of 4, 5, and 1 for me, but not the easiest way to start this late pick 5.
Yeah, Skip, I was kind of with Gino there. I was kind of 1, 4, 5, and 8, and then on my B's, I might even hit the all button to start here. I thought you could make a case for any horse in there. very tough sequence to start it out.
Yeah, I was going to go 5 deep in here. Maybe that's too deep. The one looks like it's an improving sort, never been on the grass, but should like the grass. Hate that rail draw from the inside. Mark Glatt's having a good meet, and sorry to hear about Mark's wife that passed away yesterday, and John Sheriff's, why we're talking about that. But so the one's going to be on the ticket. I'm going to use the 3 also. Cesar D'Alba claimed this horse 2 back. First off the claim, didn't run that bad. Showed speed, got a little tired late, going 6 furlongs on the flat. Now goes down the hill. He takes the blinkers off. I like that move. And Hector Barrios is on, so I don't need to say too much more about that. I'm going to use 2 other ones. Actually, 3 other ones. Gold Council for all the reasons Gino said. My long shot is Stylish Acclaimed. Carla Gaines trains this horse. And this horse ran really good second out back July 28th or 24. I know that was a while ago.
But that was after the 15-month layoff, too, right? How impressive was that coming off a layoff?
Yep.
Right, yep. Exactly. And that was from the way outside post, too. Or, I remember that day because I bet the other Carla Gaines that ran second, Glorious Life. And this horse really surprised me. The 7's got to be on my ticket. I watched the workout pattern. I like it. I like the works on the 4th and on February 5th. I thought they were good works. And I'm also going to throw in Bro. Shorten it or going a little bit longer, but it won going a mile at Santa Anita. Then they tried it a mile and an 8th, and something went wrong. Brought it back. Didn't run bad off the layoff. Doug O'Neill's having a good meet. I'm going to go 1, 3, 4, 7, 8 to start things off.
And that's what makes it so tough, Chappie. Like, we didn't even mention the checks on the way, who, if you just eliminated the January 15th race, the form prior to that really fits with this group. But you just got to be forgiving about that last race. Bumped, got checked, steadied down on the inside, like did legitimately have trouble. I mean, all of the horses he mentioned, I couldn't really try to talk him off of them. Some races I would come back to you with like a counter. I don't like that horse for this reason, the stats, whatever. But in this race, they all could be kind of fair prices. It is a really challenging way to start.
Yeah. One more thing before we move on. We said it's very challenging. And like Skip said on the 7, Stylishly Acclaimed, 6-year-old coming off of a long layoff, making only his 4th career start. They could have put this horse in for a tag. This horse would not have been claimed. Yet they're going in, in a protected good spot here. And, Carla knows what she's doing. I think that horse has a lot of upside and probably won't get bet at all. So,
and doesn't need to run a lot, right? Only needs to run the last quarter of the race down the hill. If they go fast early, we'll get a way better setup than going longer. Right? If going a little bit longer, if they're going 47 or 48 to the half mile, they might be going 44 and change here, or even slow, or even faster than that. This horse could come rolling late.
No doubt. All right, Skipper, let's come to you. Leg 2, $50,000 maiden claimer. Calbred's running once again here, and a field of 6, but not the easiest spot here for leg 2. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to single here. I usually don't like singling these type of horses, the maiden 50s, but I'm going to take a stand and do it. I need to single somewhere, and this is going to be it. It's going to be the 2, Rocky Arvido. This horse dropping from maiden special weight or Calbred to maiden 50. And I tell you what, I love when they go turf to dirt and route to sprint. And if you go back the 2nd race back in November 16th, that race wasn't that bad. That's against Smooth Strategy. Is it Gino or Sturdy? That's a Michael McCarthy for Redham horse. That is a very nice Calbred. So that was not a bad race. Like I said, I love when they go turf to dirt, route to sprint. That last work on the 7th, it's a very slow time, but I like the way that it was doing it. I think this is a perfect spot for this horse. I didn't like any of the other ones that were running or that have run. And then the ones that have, like the Peter Miller, the one horse, I couldn't tell anything because the workouts are at San Luis Rey. So I couldn't watch any of those workouts. I'm going to take a stand with the 2 and go to my special turf to dirt route to sprint race and dropping down in class.
All right, so Skipper's singling here, those droppers, and I know it's not a big drop, probably just drop it into the right spot. Scare me a little bit. I was looking at a couple of them, including the one. It's hard to think that Peter Miller's 0 for 27 with first-time starters lately.
Right.
That shocked me. But what are your thoughts here, Gino?
Yeah, the tab's a little spotty on the 1-2. That concerns me a bit. Like you look, there's only 3 works since the start of the year, right? January 10th, the 21st, the 4th. They're not quite like clockwork when you look at them all. Also, the one I had some fun names in here, right? Like you got the Exacta of Cottonmouth and I'm Always Thirsty. Shout out to that one. I like that one. You got the Rocky Colavito, who's the single who Skippy was just mentioning. That's the baseball player who, probably a name that a lot of people in this era don't remember. This dude was a big time power hitter. And he had a cannon from the outfield. He could throw the ball really well. He hit 20 home runs or more 11 straight years, which was pretty crazy. And he actually was a 9-time All-Star. It was back when they used to have 2 All-Star games. I think he made the All-Star like 6 different years. But shout out to Colavito. I think you got to use him. Skip was pointing out that strong race in November. There were actually 2 horses in that race, the Smoovin' Saturday race, and the 4th place finisher Start the Ride. They both came out of that race to win a Calbred Stakes in their next start. Smoovin' Saturday won the King Glorious next time out, the 72 buyer speed figure. The 4th place finisher Start the Ride came back, won the Cal Cup Derby at 13-1 just a couple weeks back for Dan Blacker. So that race was very strong, maybe even a little stronger than it looks on paper. He finished 5th that day. And Skip was also pointing out the route to sprint over the last year. Phil D'Amato, route to sprint, 12 for 50, 24% with a $3.97 ROI. That's going to be one of the formulator facts on the broadcast on Saturday at Santa Anita for race number 6. I think the 2 makes sense. But honestly, you look at the rest of the field, even the 2, like he doesn't even have a really great race on paper, right? He's just dropping. We're just playing him based on the fact that he's shown a little bit of speed against better. He's faced tougher. He's dropping. He hasn't really stuck. I mean, the 3 is the horse who's run. Do you trust one step beyond at 0 for 9 with 5 seconds and 2/3? I really don't. We were talking about the first-time starters, like both the inside and the outside, they're a little tricky to get to because you can't really see the works a whole lot. They're not like overwhelming, great, like first out barns recently. The horse that by process of elimination I'm going to use is Eloquent Summer. I think this horse is a little bit better than those 2 races might look on paper because debuted just at Ellis Park against Maiden 50s, had legitimate trouble in that race. Then in the second start, October the 15th at Keeneland, that race was a little bit better than it looks. This horse had a really slow start, was inside, it was about 10 lengths off, had every opportunity to just back up and not care and run last. But this horse did show late interest and passed about half the field that day. Now you get the blinkers on, first-time Lasix for a new barn. Our guy, the Sniper, he calls it the makeover package. When you get something like this with the horse and they're doing a bunch of new things, it's that type of race where it wouldn't shock me at all if this horse came out of the gate running and was just way faster, way more in the race than we've seen. I'm going to try to get out of here with 2 and 5.
Yeah, I thought the 5 was a little bit sneaky as well. So interesting. Obviously, the 2 is going to get bet. That's Skip. He's taking a stand. I don't blame him. It's kind of a weak race, especially for Maiden 50. We shall see. All right, Gino, right back to you. Race 7, 1 1/8, the San Marcos, grade 3 here. What are your thoughts here in race 7?
Yeah, and it's likely the Truly Quality is going to scratch out of this race and wait for the San Luis Rey on March the 21st. That was information posted in a DRF article just a few days back, so you can check that out. You have the 3rd through 7th place finishers from the San Gabriel that are all back in here. So you have a lot of horses who come out of the same race. That makes it a little bit tricky. But, guys, this is another field of horses that I think you start with Gold Phoenix, right? From a class standpoint, Gold Phoenix is head and shoulders above this group. But Gold Phoenix is now 8, and this is a starting point for Gold Phoenix. We know this is a horse who always likes to point for Del Mar, where he's going to be primed up and ready to run big races down there and to try to get him ready for the Breeders' Cup. So I don't know if he's going to be 100% ready to fire his best race off the bench. I will say it may not even matter against this group. Like, he may be that much better than the group that his B race or a B plus race could still beat this group. But I want to use him and 1 or 2 others just in case. I'm absolutely using Grogu. Shout out to Baby Yoga. If you're a Mandalorian fan, they had a new trailer for that in the Super Bowl. The Grogu and the Mandalorian. That'll be the new Star Wars movie coming out this year. Grogu actually ran pretty well in the last couple races, and I don't think is facing a bunch of monsters in here outside of Gold Phoenix. If Gold Phoenix is not 100% ready, I'm looking for some others that are interesting prices. You get the cutback for Grogu, who won going 1.25 miles 2 starts back. That was a really good effort. Last time out was about 6 lengths off and then backed up to 10 off and just had nowhere to go and was buried inside and was traveling really well, had a steady, lost all momentum, lost a bunch of ground. By the time this horse got some room, it was late in the race, and that was going 1.5 miles. So I just think that was too far. The cutback should really help. Grogu is a big price on the morning line I'm going to include. And I also am going to throw back in a horse that we have kind of left out for a while, I at least have, and that's Endlessly. I thought Endlessly ran pretty well last time out, kind of getting back to form. This is a horse who at one point was one of the better turf horses in the division, and then went to the Kentucky Derby and just hasn't really been the same since. That race in the San Gabriel was sneaky good. This horse was in between horses, did catch a little bit of traffic. I thought it was one of the better recent performances, stringing a few together now. I think Gold Phoenix is the one to beat. I'll throw in a couple of fun prices of Endlessly and Grogu.
Well, I'll tell you two things I know. One, I didn't know the 4 was going to be scratched, so that throws me way off. And two, Skip and I have no idea what Grogu was. I think I'm speaking for Skip when
You were right.
That's why I'm here.
That was a no-brainer. Yeah, exactly. So, Skip, I'm sure you're going to be on Stay Hot. I will now go to Stay Hot instead of True Quality. Anything else to add there? I mean, we don't know about the 9, right? I mean,
I'm going to go too deep. I just wasn't sure if the 9 would be ready first off the break. Obviously, they're going to be thinking, like Gino said, bigger races, bigger purses, and of course down at Del Mar, in the summertime. But he's been training really, really good. The last 2 works, I put really good works. I know they kind of set it up in front of him. There was 2 horses going head and head in front of him, but the way he just angled out and went right by and kept galloping out, very nice. He looks like he's ready to go. Obviously the class of the race, he ran really good in that Breeders' Cup race. So I got to put Gold Phoenix, but my other horse, I'm only going too deep. My other horse I'm going to use is the 5, Mondego, for Michael McCarthy, the other Michael McCarthy. He's got Endlessly too that Gino liked. I watched that San Gabriel a few times, and I really thought Endlessly or Mondego ran the best of the bunch in there. It hugged the rail. I love the way that he galloped out. The farther, the better for him. That was at 1.8 miles. They're going 1.25 miles tomorrow. I think the distance is going to be great for him. He came back to work good. I'm going 5 and 9 in here only.
And you know what, Skip?
All right, I got one more question for you here.
Yeah, and I may have to shorten up in the next race or two where I have a stronger opinion, because I this was the last horse I thought about using, and you mentioned, and who is going to go to the lead in this race?
Right.
There might be a shot that there might be a shot that Jaramillo gets him towards the front. He's a very good jockey at getting horses towards the lead. At one point, this horse did have a little more speed than he's showing right now. I mean, there is nobody else in here that wants to be close to the front end. I think just because he's had some of those races, I'm going to have to throw him in and include him.
Right.
Yeah.
He looks
that
great.
Was my question. I was going to say. Yeah.
Right.
It's almost like we've done this together a few times, right? I sort of knew where you were going.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Skipper, back to you. Race 8, 5.5 furlongs, maiden 20. Tough. These maiden 20s can be difficult. I thought this was a very interesting race. Full field here. What are your thoughts here? A couple droppers. How do you look at this spot?
I plan on going 4 deep in here. The 2, Pop Paul, definitely. This horse is shipping in from Churchill Downs. It did run first time out, and its first maiden race back in January of last year here on the grass. Went to Churchill Downs, drops in class. Bob Hess DeSormo. They've been a deadly combo throughout the years. 2's going to be on my ticket. You know, I usually don't use horses that once they get like 0 for 9, 0 for 10, I just give up and I don't use them because I think they just don't want to win. They're pack animals. They just want to run with other horses. But this horse is dropping in class. I'm going to use them. I'm going to use the 3. So the 2 and 3 for sure are on my ticket. And then we go to my long shot is the 8. Go Trigger Cut. Dropping in class, blinkers off. I like both of those moves. I know it looks terrible on the form, getting beat 7 lengths, 11 lengths, and 18 and a half lengths. I'm just hoping maybe the blinkers off. You know, they put him on last time, and that was the worst race of his career. Take him back off. It came back and worked twice after that last race, which I like. It's not like it came back and worked once or maybe didn't come back at work at all. They worked this horse on the 1st and on the 7th, 6 days apart. So I like that. I like that Karushi Kimura is jumping aboard this horse. He's having a great meet. So the 8's going to be on my ticket. Then the other one is going to be the other class dropper for Sadler, Video Review. This horse goes turf to dirt, drops down to 20. Boy, that last race was bad. It showed speed and it just faded, got beat 12 3/4. But I'm gonna use that one because of the turf to dirt, second off the break, dropping down in class. So I'm gonna go 2, 3, 8, and 9. I thought about using the 11, but Gina was talking about the breaks and the work and the inconsistent work tab. And look at it. It was February 2nd, then January 16th. That's at least 2 works right there. Then, you know, it just, there's a couple little hiccups in the workout pattern. So I decided I was going to leave that one off. I'm going 4 deep, 2, 3, and what did I say? 8 and 9.
8, 9. Yeah. I'm 2, 3, 8, 9, 2, 3, 6, 8, 9, 11. So I'm spreading in here. Gino, is anybody you thought of separately than we came up with? I'm not in love with anything in this spot.
Yeah, you had the horses that were on my radar. I probably try to get out of it with 9-11. Like, I do think the 9's one of those horses where, like, on this drop is probably the horse to catch. I think the 9 probably gets bet down a little bit too, because on paper there's not a whole lot. And I do just like using speed horses a lot of times in races like this, especially cutting back to 5.5 furlongs. So 9 for sure. The reason that I agree with Skip, like there's a few things about the 11 I don't love as a first time starter. The reason why I'm okay in this spot is just because it's really at like the bottom level here, the bottom level of maidens. Like, this horse doesn't have to be all that great to still be really competitive in this race and to run. And I think to be like right in the mix late here, if I'm just looking at some of the things that I go through with first time starters, this horse is won the debut, was 2 for 4. Was 3rd in the grade 1 Frizette, and then tried the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. So it was really precocious and was good early on in the career, was a win early type horse. And the only work out available that I was able to see was out of the gate on December the 31st. It was actually not bad. It was on first.tv. It was right. Like solid for this level. 6 siblings that the dam has had to race, 4 winners, 3 multiple winners. So again, for a maiden 20, that's not a bad pedigree where your dam was a grade 1 place. You won the debut, dropped 6 horses to race, 4 of them winners, 3 multiple winners. And now we move to the statistics with the barn. Ryan Hansen's pretty solid with first time starters. I think 15 for the last 122. If you're looking at the last 5 years, that's 12%. And that's at $1.81 ROI because they're generally at fair prices. Nobody in this race scares me at all. If the 9 doesn't catch a flyer and open up, I would have honestly done exactly what you were doing, Chappie. I would have used the 1, 2, 3, 6, maybe the 8 who Skip was talking about. I'm probably going to try to go 9-11 here and just shorten up as best I can with these 2.
All right, 9-11. All right, Gino, we go to the last race, which is a very, very competitive maiden special weight, 6.5 furlongs on the turf, on the main, not down the hill. I put tough race on this. I had a single earlier in the card, but that's the one you said is not going to run. So I'm going to have to go back and reassess how I'm going to play this. But I thought this last race was very tough, Gino. What were your thoughts here in the final leg?
Think I was on mute there for a second. So we have four horses that come out of that January 10th race.
I were trying to read lips like Grogu, but it didn't work.
I was just messing with you to see how good you guys really were. But yeah, I got to actually make sounds for you to understand what I'm saying. So Bint El Dandy, 3-time beaten favorite. You're looking at like 5 times around 4-1 or less. So she could win, but she's burned a lot of money, and I think she's had some of her chances. And just coming out of that very same race, I actually liked Surf Song better. I thought Surf Song was inside, just behind the leaders, and had nowhere to go. Waited, no room, had to shift off and come around and closed really well for third. And it looks like the blinkers could really help the horse. 6.5 on the turf might be perfect for Surf Song. You look earlier in her career, she faced some pretty nice horses there, and I think she fits pretty well in this group. The 6, Surf Song is going to be on top for me. The 4, Robin with the Y, another horse I wanted to mention here. Robin with the Y went a mile, now cuts back to 6.5. This isn't down the hill, it's the flat, but I still like this cutback here. If you look 2 starts back on November the 28th, that horse Claire Aston, who was beating Robin with the Y, was right there in the mix. That was the same horse from that January 10th race that a couple of these horses come out of. So you see, that's a common rival that Robin with the Y was right there, was only beaten a length that day. Robin with the Y had some legitimate trouble on November the 28th. So if you're kind of comparing that horse that beat a lot of these others, Robin with the Y was right there in a very similar race. I think 6.5, again, should fit this horse really, really well. So 4 and 6 were kind of the outside the box horses for me. I think the 2 is going to run well first time on the grass also. This one's Dam was second in 1 of 2 turf starts, and in that debut was last of 6. This filly was about 5 lengths off. She was showing really good late energy for a clear-cut second. The winner of that race, who won by 6+, earned an 86 Beyer speed figure. Very, very strong for that type of a race. So my top horses here, 2, 4, and 6. I'd love to be alive to them, but I mean, Skip, I'm sure you've got a couple others in the mix because this is not an easy way to close.
Yeah, I do. I'm glad you mentioned the 2. The 2 is definitely going to be on my ticket. Hector Barrios jumps aboard on the grass. It says bump, lost path early. It wasn't that bad, but the horse still, for first time out, ran really good. It did have to take up just a tiny bit. Then it was wide, made a big move. It got beat by Into the Hall. That's a John Sheriff's trained horse that won nicely that day. 2's going to be on my ticket. The 4, for all the reasons Gino said, Jeff Mullins shortening back up, ran a couple good races. That first off the break was really good. Surf Song, I'm using that one. I thought the same thing with Bint El Dandy. I'm going to use, but I don't like this horse, but I'm not going to let this horse beat me in case Mondego wins or I get another price. I'm not going to let Bint El Dandy beat me. But I'm going to mention the outside 3 horses also. They're all going to be on my ticket. Mancuso, definitely going to be on my ticket. I like the work on the 22nd. I know it's a long break, but Phil D'Amato does good. He does good off the break. Karushi Kimura is riding it. He's having a great meet. First time Lasix. Miss Kitty Boom for Baltus. I know he's having a tough meet. He's only winning at 5%, but their horses are running. He just hasn't had luck. This is the horse that's going to keep or maybe be in front of the 7, Bint El Dandy. With I love that JJ Hernandez jumps aboard this horse. Mike gets off. They put JJ aboard at 8-1. That horse has got to be on my ticket. And then the outside horse, the 10. This horse goes from Chad Brown to Phil D'Amato. This horse didn't run bad races, at Ellis Park, at Kentucky Downs, at Keeneland. This horse is training good. I watched the whole workout pattern. I saw the work of the 7th, the 31st, and the 7th. This horse looks like he's ready to go. I like the outside draw. I love Hormio jumping aboard. So I'm going deep in here. I'm going to go 2, 4, 6. I'm going to put the 7, but I don't want to, but I'm not going to let it beat me. 8, 9, and 10. That's why I went too deep and I had to single early. I think it's a $96 ticket.
All right, I'm using the same ones Gino is. I mean, you, Skip, are. I'm using exact ones you are, Skip. And Gino, I'm starting to go out a little bit. I'm starting to fade here, my computer. So hopefully wrap us up a little bit, will you, for the weekend?
It's almost like you've got about a 30-minute shelf life. And then like once we hit about 30 minutes, then you start going, right? But don't forget about all the different wagers you can play. We just set you up for that late pick 5 sequence tomorrow, but they also have the coast to coast pick 5 sequence from First Racing and the Sunset 6, which is the last 3 races at Santa Anita. We just talked about those, and the last 3 races from Gulfstream Park every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Those are great too because they have no CAW wagering. So none of those big players that are all coming in and kind of hammering the odds down late, they're not involved in those. And 15% takeout, dollar-based minimum. The Pick'em contest, if you're a college basketball fan, and you like to play those games, there's a lot of those this weekend. You could win $500 for free. Pick'em.santanita.com. Check out all the tournaments at expressbet.com/tournaments. We already mentioned this weekend, party time, Mardi Gras, and have a great Valentine's Day with all your loved ones out there. One more, President's Day sale at DRF, shop.drf.com. Got to get all the plugs in. There we go.
And special racing on Monday, weather permitting. So we'll see you this weekend, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks, guys.